Kirk Cousins. That's
Yeah,
the
that's the big question right now is
This
what are
is
they
what I
gonna
was trying to
do?
get us to, because they're not. They've already came out and said they're not giving him anything guaranteed.
Which makes
And
sense
and
considering his situation.
Yeah.
Cousins got a no tag clause in his contract, so he can't be franchise tag.
Nope.
Can
He's
I
done
move
with
on?
the tag days. He's over. He's got too much like
So you think he just, hey, I'll just couch surf until, you know,
So it's
we end up with.
interesting
Well, hang on.
because
What I'm getting at is like, you think he'll just couch surf and then just pull a Flacco? Because I mean, let's look at this year. We're only 4 AFC quarterbacks. We're healthy.
The difference is he has to heal his Achilles that he tore mid to end of the season. So you
Yeah.
remember that he's coming up from Achilles surgery.
it's just kind of it's a very crappy situation for Cousins. Like it sucks because like I mean it really showed that the Vikings really needed him when he went down. It was very excuse me. It's been very apparent that was the
Yes.
case, but it's just the fact that like I feel like the only way they can really bring Cousin back confidently is if they have like a solid plan B in case he goes down again. And
Yeah.
obviously
So,
they can't do that with the money that they have in order to get
right.
him.
Well, that's what I was saying, Jason. Like, you just, hey, you know what? Don't sign me. Let me couch surf. And when there's a team that ends up somehow magically in the playoffs and needs a quarterback, I'll show up like Joe Flacco because, hey, guess what?
I mean,
I'll be healed up by then.
I think a team's gonna
it-
go bite that bullet. Someone's gonna bite the bullet. Like there's too many like QB needy teams anyways for him not to get like signed somewhere at the beginning of the season. Now,
What do you
will he
got,
start
Ty?
is a different story.
Hang on.
This-
Wait, what do you got, Ty?
I was just saying, the smartest thing Minnesota can do right now with Kirk Cousins, let him walk. They're not going anywhere right now with Kirk Cousins. That window has closed for them. Just roll with Josh Dobbs for 1 year, draft a quarterback in 25. Cousins is going to be the most highly sought after quarterback in this free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are teams out there that need someone, i.e., the Pittsburgh Steelers, come to mind instantly. And I think he would be a good fit for that offense compared to everybody else who's been thrown at them, speculative wise. But
Yeah.
there's no need for them to keep rolling the dice with Kirk Cousins. They're not going to win with him. They're not going to contend with him. This is an exercise in futility. You already came out and said you're not going to, give him. What did they say again?
The fully guaranteed.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, if you're not going to do that, don't bullshit the man. Pardon my French. Just cut him.
Yeah.
Like it's that
All right.
simple.
But the other thing is that like that could affect the decision with Justin Jefferson as well, especially with how much money he's demanding.
So I have a hypothetical. I just want to run by the two of you, and Jingles, if Jingles feels like contributing. What if the Jets make a trade?
No.
Because we've seen it before.
Oh my god.
And we could have another Viking great, Aaron Rodgers.
No, that's no.
So you know what that means.
No.
That means that he'll go to
Rogers far.
that means he'll come to Minnesota. They'll get to an NFC title game against the Saints, and he'll throw a costly interception when it matters most.
So you were hey, we're going to Bounty Gate too?
Not repaid.
We're going to Bounty
Can we
Gate
not
too?
have a repaid of
Why do you ponder passing? You could take a knee and try his 56-yard field goal.
This is a Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
It's all coming together, baby.
Please,
You and your
not.
you
We
and your
already had
negative
like a
86
freaking
million.
Brett Favre, like we already had like a Brett Favre moment with Jordan Love throwing that dumbass interception. Excuse me, but like,
Look, we already covered this a couple of weeks ago when I said that, the genetic material that they have for their little quarterback cloning machine is a bit defective.
but yeah, I think that like I don't think that's gonna happen. That'd be really dumb on both of their ends to do something like that.
I'm just fantasizing at this point. This
Yeah,
is my
it's just-
fanfic, you know?
It's just dumb. It's just silly. But yeah, I wouldn't like. I think that it is good for the Vikings to just go ahead and go for the hard reset, but I don't think they're in the mindset to do a hard reset.
They won't.
I feel
They're going to
I
spend
feel like
money.
they're gonna I feel like they're gonna try their best to try to work something out with Cousins. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up staying there. Probably not for the money that he wants, but probably better to be on that like team friendly deal with some of it being guaranteed, not all. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's like
Yeah.
25 million a year with a 5 million bonus or something like that, just to appease that. Because I do think he wants to go team friendly, considering he's aware of the situation he's in. I don't think anyone's gonna pay like 40 million for the dude, even though he's as good. It's because of that Achilles injury. Because he's injury prone and he's like what 37 now.
Somebody will take a gamble. Hey, maybe the Raiders. They got the money.
Maybe.
He is 35.
Yeah,
You know that actually he would probably be all right at the Raiders.
he would. And that offense, they're probably going to try and run with Antonio Pierce. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
No, I
think
think that's a good spot for him.
I agree. Anyway, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and because like here's the thing, like Minnesota is kind of weird because it's kind of like that version like Pittsburgh, except for without the success that Pittsburgh has, where it seems like the fan base just can't handle. Hey, you just need 2 down years. You get 2 down years, and you're gonna be drafting like crazy, and then you'll be stacked and you'll be ready to go. Like for some reason, Pittsburgh just can't handle that, or just isn't willing to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll get to Pittsburgh here in a minute because they're in rough shape too. But after Minnesota, we're down to the other team that their fan base apparently can't handle the fact when they suck. Granted, they had their 2 bad years and they still suck. So it's the New York Giants.
Okay, I was wondering which team this was. I was confused.
Well, it's New York Stock Exchange, parentheses G. Sorry, I have notes and I give the teams fun names.
Yes, I see that now. I definitely see you've seen your notes.
26 million is what they've got roughly. So
Ah,
that's not enough to fix that team.
Daniel
don't
Jones,
think.
am I right?
You really want
Uh,
to? Daniel Jones with a $69 million dead
Woo.
cap.
Nice.
Daniel Jones, am I right? God, man, they look very silly giving him that contract right now. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
they can opt out after this season.
Yeah, but that's next season, not
Yep.
this season. And there's not much you can really do with that because like
you can't.
obviously like they're probably gonna look at QB into the draft because I'm pretty sure even they realize that like Daniel Jones ain't it. But it's just like at this point, I would prefer them being like, bump it. We'll just like try and fill in what we can. Just have Daniel Jones go out there for 1 more year, and then we'll just draft our QB of the future for 25. Because like they're gonna have to probably trade up to get one of those tiers, especially since some QBs are probably gonna go 1, 2, 3. Like
But they got the 6th overall pick.
9 times out of 10.
So
Yeah, so they have an opportunity to move up, but like
Yeah.
it may cost a prettier penny than what it would usually be, considering how much all 3 of the quarterbacks are talked about. So it may
Yeah.
cost more than what it usually is.
do you think the Giants will reach for like a Bo Nix or a Penix Jr.?
No, if
That's
they
the
do
thing.
that, New York's gonna be in flames.
No, they don't.
I mean, I don't know what they do. Go ahead, Cy. Sorry.
Like, what do you give up for that though? To go up to get like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr. They don't have the knowing they don't have the capital to do anything. I mean, there's draft capital, but
I just
you're probably gonna want a player if you're gonna approach one of these teams and be like, hey, I want to draft XYZ quarterback who could probably be
I
a
mean,
like. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
They're stuck,
they're
and
coached.
it's because of their own doing, because they talked themselves into giving Daniel Jones this contract extension.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how they can fix that. Maybe they can
Um,
play Tommy Cutlets and go 0-16, 0-17
might
next season. You know,
as well. Shoot, like,
at least it'll be
did
fun to
Daniel
watch.
Jones get hurt last year? Because he didn't finish the
Yep.
season, right?
Yep.
He gets hurt every year at this point.
Yeah.
It's
So, like, I mean, they probably use that as an excuse to be like, yeah, we'll just go and ride with him one more year and see how it goes. But like, it's just delaying the inevitable, and they're just gonna have to like probably just try to get a piece for the future that could be good for the future quarterback, i.e., a Joe Alt or something. I don't know. It's they can do whatever, and we just know that they're not gonna like they're probably gonna be drafting around the same time next year. So
All right. So Jingles and Jason,
yes.
discuss amongst yourselves what you're going to do with $24 million if you're Atlanta. Go.
I mean, it's probably going to be more so on 30, 35, depending on who they cut. But um, I know a lot of people are probably expecting us to
Are you
look
discussing
at.
with Jingles? Because I don't hear like you discussing
Well,
with
I mean,
Jingles. You're going shopping with
I'm letting
Jingles.
him talk first before
I get
before I
it. Can
share
we have
notes.
opening statements? I thought we were just gonna go opening statements and just seeing how it goes.
Okay. I
But
heard.
I think like the big thing really is just obviously the big discussion is uh for the Falcons is are they gonna go veteran for quarterback this year? Because like that's kind of been like the big talk is if they go veteran QB, obviously Cousins is going to be in the fray. Russell Wilson, obviously, with the whole situation with the Broncos possibly cutting him. I think there's like a couple of other names as well that could be possible. I know for some weird reason people are trying to trying to say that, oh, maybe Baker Mayfield because he was on the Rams for half a year, which I think is kind
Mhm.
of stupid, but you know, it is what it is. But in my
But
person,
remember, we still got the remember, we got the offensive coordinator and the passing game that was with Baker Mayfield for that rest of the season. That's why they wanted to see. We wanted to bring in Mayfield.
yeah, but I don't know. I just think that like the Bucks will like
Do you
would
think
rather like
Mayfield
make
wants to
this
relearn
appear.
another offense with his offensive coordinator becoming a head coach of the Panthers?
I mean, you never know. I mean, it just depends on how much money they're going to willingly give Baker Mayfield, I think. And I don't think that Mayfield would be upset for sticking around with a team that actually gave him a shot and he did well with. That's just my opinion. But I think like for the Falcons, I would rather them go ahead and more so go for draft for QB, and that means moving up to like the top 4 to get it because I feel like that we have the enough pieces to make that move happen. And I would rather just go ahead and use more of that cap space to possibly get more tools, especially for the wide receiver room, because the only wide receiver we have under contract right now is Drake London, and that's it. And we already know that our wide receiver core was pretty putrid, really. So that's just kind of like where my thought process is that I would rather go ahead and at least try to look around in free agency and see if there's a decent number 2 guy that we could get. So that's what I would think we would use some of that money for. But yeah, I
Look,
wouldn't be surprised.
look at what we got on the defense. That's also a free agent. Jeff
Yeah.
Odoku, Bud Dupree, Calais Campbell. They're all free agents. All right, we ain't gonna re-sign Cordell Patterson because Arthur Smith. You don't know where the fuck he was because he wants to label the Joker, and he
That was
literally
so dumb.
he left like the Joker. Then you
Yeah.
traded for Van Jefferson, which he wasn't even there for half of the season.
Nope.
So we ain't gonna re-sign him. I mean, you got Hodges as a free agent. He's probably gonna be gone too. Holland's another wide receiver as a free agent. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna be gone.
Like I
So
said, the only free agent free agent. The only like wide receiver that's under contract is Drake London. That's it. Everybody else is going to free agency, and none of them are really worth bringing back. That's why I'm just like, I think that it would be imperative to try and use some of that cap space for a number 2 because I don't like. Obviously, we have an opportunity to get a decent wide receiver like on day 2, but I think that like a massive overhaul for the wide receiver is essentially one of my big things with it. Of course, there's also going the route, as you said, with the defensive line, because Bud Dupree and Calais Campbell are heading out the door. And I would not, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if Calais Campbell goes to another team, especially since we're doing a different, a little bit of a different system than what we did the previous year, was switching to a 3-4 from the 4-3, from what I've
Mhm.
heard.
Yeah.
So that can come into play also. Um, I did hear that we may look into getting Sneed, but I think that might be too rich for us. That would be great. I would love that, but that might be a little bit too rich for us to really able to get, especially since we got Jesse Bates.
Question for the two Atlanta fans. So would there be like a backup quarterback that might be coming on the market that you guys would take in the short term while you rebuild?
Ritter's going to be our backup QB. Like
No, as your primary. Because I mean, you think about it again, like the AFC, there were only 4 starting quarterbacks that made it to the end of the season. So we got to see a lot of backup quarterbacks, and some of them, their contracts are up. So I was just curious if there was any of them that kind of wowed you, and that, it's like, hey, you know what? Throw him a 2-year contract. Let's go ahead,
That's what we
rebuild. Let's
did.
get our
That's
stuff.
what we did with
name's not
Heineke. That's
Minch.
what we did with Heineke.
Yes.
And
Look
you
what
saw
happened.
you saw what happened. And now he's got that 1 year left with it. And like I already told Jason before we went on, if you cut him, that's a what did I say? It was like 6 million.
We would
Yes, yeah,
save
you
around
save
6.
you save
We
6
save 6
million.
and we lose 2 in
Yep.
dead cap. And my thing about this is like, if that's the case, if his name's not Minshew, I don't want him. Like, it's cool that some of the backup QBs did decent. Like Joe Flacco did a obviously a pretty good job.
Oh, he's going to be under contract. I think.
Yeah,
with
he's
the
gonna be under
Browns.
contract. But and Browning did decent, but like really the only quarterback that is worth like even having that discussion about the tier 2 is Gardner Minshew in my eyes. If that's not happening, then I'd rather just go draft or go Cousins or Wilson, or obviously the whole Justin Fields thing that everybody likes shoving down our throats.
And remember, Chicago has not picked up their 5th-year option, so we trade for him. We have the deadline of I think
I mean,
what we have.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's get Jangles. So Jangles, like if you trade for him, you pick up that 5th-year option, so you get him relatively cheap, theoretically.
Well, yeah,
So
this year would be cheap because still on the rookie contract. If you pick up the 5th-year option, it's a
like
$22 million hit right there.
well, all right. So there you go. There's your cap space.
well, that's our cap space for 25. If I recall correctly, if I remember how the 5th-year option works.
No, it should hit.
Well, 25. We have enough room in 25 for the $22 million cap hit for Justin Fields' 5th-year option, because in 2025, right now, our cap total is $120 million in 2025.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you might as well just start rebuilding the team. And hey, you know what? Take a game.
Yeah.
I'd probably take a game on that because you get it for cheap for this year, right?
So So if we trade, like obviously, if we trade for Fields, the 5th option's gonna get signed. Like it'd be kind of dumb not to. Like, why would you do that for a 1-year rental? That'd be kind of silly. Obviously, it's just kind of one of those situations as to how much does the Bears want to get him, because like we're not gonna do what that idiot Mel Kiper thinks that we should do, giving up our 8 for him. That sounds so dumb.
That's a reach. I'm sorry. I did not hear about that, but
it's
that
not
is
even just a reach. That is just an abysmal, brain dead, you should be fired on the spot type of move. Like, I'm sorry. That is so dumb. But like, if we have to give up a second
that's
round
what I
pick,
did. I did a projection of trading a second and a 5th-round pick for next year, and they still accepted it for
Yeah.
Justin Fields.
I think that's fine. I think that is okay because like the second round hasn't really been that kind to us as Falcons when it comes to history. So I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. Just giving up a second and some change for Fields. But of course, like that's kind of like the popular move at the moment. I wouldn't mind it, but I do think we should continue to build around whatever quarterback's going to come in, whether it's a Fields, whether it's a Wilson, or whoever you want to put on a Falcons jersey, just for the
I mean,
funsies.
the problem is like 24 million is just not a lot, and it's what we're going to get to here next. So now we're going to move on to Kansas City. They basically can buy one good wide receiver.
Yeah. I don't know who that's going to be, though.
I mean,
they'll probably get Boyd just to rub it in my face.
I mean, they can easily restructure some of the deals that they can to get more, because I think that's what they're planning on doing.
They have a little bit of wiggle room, but it depends. I mean, obviously, their biggest need is an extra wide receiver.
Yes,
I think
they need someone to pair up Rice with.
And
but again, it's like I don't know who. Hold up,
They got MVS, Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, Rashid Rice, Anthony Miller, and G. Smith, Justin Ross, Nikhil Ringo, Jacob Copeland are all signed for this season as the wide receiver.
Yeah, but they don't have any talent.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, they don't have any. Like Boyd is someone is gonna pick up Boyd because bro's got some touchdowns. And I mean, to me, that's just where he's gonna end up. But I may be completely wrong on this, and then he's gonna be somewhere else. As much as I just hate Kansas City,
just looking at the free agency tracker here, and of all the wide receivers that are going to be available, if we just assume that Pittman and Evans are going to be back, and we'll just assume that Jacksonville bites the bullet with Calvin Ridley or Houston snags him up, after that, it's not looking good. You got Gabe Davis out there, Rashid Shaheed, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel, Josh Reynolds, Hollywood Brown, OBJ. It gets, granted, most of these players are better than who they're rolling with now, and Tony and MVS. So,
I mean,
not really a bunch of number ones or twos.
I mean, Boyd was he was number 3 for us. But any other thing, he's a solid 2, if not a little bit like a 2+. I mean, he's not number 1, but they won a freaking Super Bowl without a number 1. So
yeah. I mean, like, I think Rice is a decent number 1 option in my opinion. Like, I don't think he really had that bad of a year. He was kind of the go-to outside of Kelsey, obviously, but I don't know. That's just me.
He definitely grew into that role. He definitely grew into that role. I think,
and that's just him as a rookie, so he could definitely have a huge jump next year.
I feel like this is a situation, not to derail it too much, of how Brady was in New England, where they were pairing him up with no names at wide receiver, quote unquote. And because he's so good, he elevates the talent of those players, and they look better than they are. Not saying Rice isn't a good player, but Mahomes really elevates him as a wide receiver. So in theory, you can make the argument, well, they don't really need to go out and get someone like Evans or Pittman, but getting someone like Mike Evans, God forbid, if they ever do,
that'd be so brutal.
It would be so hard.
So brutal.
Yeah.
But I think in reality, I think Hollywood Brown's a solid choice to bring into that room. He's definitely an upgrade to Kadarius Toney and the rest of the
OBJ.
OBJ's okay. I think he might stay with the Ravens.
I feel like his father would be a distraction.
We'll get to that. We'll get to what the Ravens are having to deal with here in a minute, because somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kansas City's going to buy wide receiver. That's what's going on. So Jacksonville, they have significantly less than the one above it, but it's still in the range of like, hey, you didn't do terrible. They have 16 million. What on earth did they do with it? Because outside of quarterback play, wide receivers were all right. Like, yeah, you just throw it on the defense and just call it a good day.
I mean,
So-
gotta bring Allen back.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you
the
gotta bring
big
Allen back.
decision. Yeah, I think the big decision, obviously outside of Allen, is just the decision of Ridley as well. Because, like, obviously,
What's Ridley
we alluded-
commanding to re-sign?
Yeah, it's as we alluded to earlier. Ridley did not have as good of a season as the Jags would hoped, which is why, like, the expectation of that being a third rounder is just kind of is what it is. But I think
hang on,
that like.
Jingles. What was the cap hit on Ridley? If they
Kevin
re-sign,
Ridley's, if he's signed, it'd be a $17 million AAV market value.
well, they can't. They got 16. Well, they might, but they'd be the only person they're signing. And I have a feeling they're going to take Allen. So what's Allen's hit?
Allen's hit is 23.9.
So crap. Which one of those two do you
Yeah.
take? Go.
Matter of fact, who do you cut?
Yeah, because that's kind of what it is.
It's what you choose. So pick one, and then we'll go on the next team. So, you got Josh Allen or Ridley. Who do you take, Jingles?
You have to take Josh Allen.
What do you take, Cy?
Looking at his stats this season, give me Josh Allen any day of the week.
All right, Jason, make your case.
Allen, like, what case is there? Like,
Yeah, I know.
Allen is the better player than Ridley right now at this point. Like, Ridley is a bona fide number 2 at best at this point of his career. It sucks, but it is what it is.
But it's crazy because like Jacksonville has like almost no dead cap. Like their dead cap is less than $1 million, and yet they're somehow in this situation to where you're gonna want to clean out some stuff because you got some dead weight in there that's not listed as dead weight.
Christian Kirk's cap is $24 million. You also got Zay Jones with an $11 million cap hit. You got Evan Ingram with a $7 million cap hit.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. Remember, you still got to resign Trevor Lawrence down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he's gonna want big money.
He does, and he's, in my opinion, he doesn't really deserve the money. But this is me.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't deserve the crazy money we've been seeing, but like middle of the pack.
He's definitely middle of the pack.
In fact, if I was Trevor Lawrence, I would take a shorter contract just so that. Go ahead.
They're rejecting him to take 49.
They do not have the money for that.
No, I mean they're gonna make the money. They're gonna make room some way, somehow. But that's gonna gut your entire team. Just have fun with that, Jacksonville. That's all I gotta say.
And then after Jacksonville, we'll go to my favorite team, which is the league average. It has 15 million in cap space. So, like, who do you think they're going to sign?
So proud of league average. They're going to be so good this year.
I know. They've been so good. They have zero dead cap. You know. All right. So then, after that, we start getting into silly money because the Eagles, 11 million. It's like you could sign like 3 offensive linemen, maybe, and a kicker.
Oh, that's enough
if you're lucky.
That's enough for the church push. We're running every play. We'll be a rugby scrum every play.
I mean, it's not like the Eagles are a bad football team on paper. They have some very, very good players that they don't really need to rely on free agency that much. They just need to figure out what the heck they're going to do offensively. Because, like, goodness gracious, man, that was atrocious.
They don't have any money to figure out what they're going to do. So, like,
I know,
it's just
that's what I'm saying. It's just like they're just going to have to run it back with the same crew and just hope that, like, whatever problem they had last year, they cleaned it up this offseason. Because if not, hell, it's going to roll.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on to the New York, the New York Cessnas. I'm sorry, Jets.
I I don't even know the Jets.
Sponsored by Spirit Airlines.
You know what? All they need to do is just have everybody carry American flags in the opening.
No. I think
They
you
just
meant
need, they all
jingles.
need to carry it.
They're all going to be like on Boeing, like 767, so the doors will just fall off, halfway through the season. A flight, the same thing.
Honestly, just give Aaron Rodgers as much ayahuasca as he wants and call it a day. Just do that.
It's no. You got to trade him. You got to trade him to Minnesota because we got to keep the
you do,
prophecy
Bro,
alive.
Yes, you do.
Please.
That is the only way the
please.
Saints will get another Super Bowl. It has to
No.
happen.
Don't give me more ideas.
No.
We're gonna get to the
Look,
Saints.
man,
So
the script writer thing is now dead and gone. Can we move on, please?
they have no money. They have $7 million, and how much dead cap have they got? They got 18 million in dead cap, and it's just a dumpster fire. Welcome to New York. It's like they said. That, when you die, you always ask that the New York Jets become your pallbearers. That way, they can let you down one more time.
Jesus.
All right.
I worked with a lot of New York electricians, and that was 100% their go-to joke. So,
Oh
Fun,
my
fun.
God.
so moving on, we're going to go out of that, and now we're getting into like you are so close to nothing. San
God,
Francisco made it to the Super
San
Bowl.
Francisco, the
Shanahan, you mother. Okay.
San Francisco, the new Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, so San Francisco has currently it's probably going to go up a little bit, but I still think the statement's true. They don't have enough cap space right now to buy a home in San Francisco. Secondly, they don't have enough cap space to probably draft.
Yeah.
Well, it's right there. It's 800 grand. Or 600 grand. 600 grand is what they're projected right now with the current.
No, I meant like the average for like buying a house at San Fran.
It's
I thought
at
it was around $1
600.
million.
The average house is 650,000.
Oh damn! So like 50. That's crazy.
Yeah, and with what they got left over, they're not even going to be able to draft like a hot dog vendor. Like.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna be in the negatives. I mean, like, again, it's one of those teams where they're just gonna have to suck it up, Buttercup, and run it back because they have a good team. What I'm interested in, though, considering the whole like Ayuk drama, apparently that's a thing in San Fran.
Yes.
So, if he ends up like demanding a trade, that'd be kind of spicy. That'd be fun.
Another thing is, do you try to resign Sam Darnold since he's a free agent? Just
Probably
saying.
not.
You don't have the money for it.
Unless he wants to go vet minimum, and even then, that's like $1 million, right?
Yeah, they might have. It depends on what number they get. So take the number that I gave out with, a plus or minus like 2 million, maybe, like just for ballpark's sake. But you still got a lot of people. You probably still got to re-sign. So there's not a lot there, and now it's going to get worse because we're going to move on from San Fran, and we're going to go into Baltimore, which is now granted they're probably still in the black. As far as things are shaping up now, again, this is projected off of 242 million as the cap space, but currently they're at negative 800, and they have a lot.
The fact that they have so much dead cap, but they still were able to make it to the AFC Championship game is astonishing. I mean, I guess like the big thing is just deciding who they're gonna like who they're gonna cut and who they would want to bring back. Because like I know OBJ is heading into free agency, and it's a debate whether or not he would want to come back, especially with like how Daddy DJ.
What was his hit? What was his cap hit? What was OBJ's cap hit? Because maybe that's all they need. How much?
15. But you also got to resign Gus Edwards, and Patrick Queen is a free agent. Jadeveon Clowney is also a free agent. J.K. Dobbins is a free agent.
Oh, I would love to get my hands on Clowney.
Oh, I was saying, I'm just looking at the who they have, all the free agents for them. I mean, depending on who you talk to in Baltimore with Baltimore Ravens fans, you'll get so many different opinions on Patrick Queen. So it's like, I don't know. Patrick Queen's the maybe in this situation with them, but they can't keep. They're gonna have. There's gonna be some casualties here, and they're probably gonna ask Lamar to restructure. They have
And
to.
and the Ravens just re-signed Nelson Aguilar.
So the next two on the list. So I mean, again, it's going to be the same kind of deal. We got the Seattle Seahawks. They're somehow negative 1.6 million.
Fun.
Interesting. Really?
Yeah, and they have like no dead cap space. Like that's the part that's crazy. Like their dead cap
It's a
is
quarter of a mil.
Yeah, it's 250 million. Or I'm sorry, 250,000. Yeah, 250 billion. Yeah, no.
Interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
Because of the Geno Smith contract that got inactive. I mean, activated over the weekend. That $12 million fully guarantee that went into effect.
Yep. So like they're in rough shape, and I don't know what they're going to do about it.
Tyler Lockett, Jamal Adams, DK Metcalf, Quan Diggs, Draymond Jones. They're all above 20 million cap hit.
Yeah, like it's a mess.
good luck with
And
that.
yeah, that's basically all I can say on it. So we're gonna move on from them because I'm trying to get to the bottom here. Because also everyone after this point obviously is in the negative. So these are the NFL teams that are in the quote unquote poorhouse.
Yeah.
And so what I call the the Red Bay Packers because they're in the red.
I just took a look at them, and I don't.
It's a good
I
thing they're
don't know.
young. It's a good thing they're young. They got a lot of good, solid rookies.
Yeah, I don't know how
6.8
to.
million, and so they're going to cut some people.
Yeah, there's
They
a
got-
rumor they're going to cut David Babatari because of his $40 million cap hit.
And their dead cap space, just for filling in here, their dead cap space is about 7 million, which that would put them in the black if they didn't have it, but unfortunately they do. So
Probably cutting Jair Alexander is probably not a good idea.
Nope.
No, I'm looking at his dead cap right now. Not a good idea. They're gonna have to cut somebody that we're not expecting. I don't know who that would be, but I
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, their only saving grace would be like in the event that, of course, I don't know who they all have to resign, but like in the event that we bump up to the 250 mark, like it is also being rumored. Like there's two numbers, and again, like if you're within 10 million of the numbers, like you might still be safe. But trust me, there are some teams on here that aren't. So they may be saved by what the contract is. I'm just trying to get through this. Now we're going to get into the you were really badly off. So starting with Dallas.
Oh my god.
How about them Cowboys?
minus 22 million Buckaroos.
I mean, it sucks because on paper they're not a bad team again. It's just I don't know what the heck they can do. Like I don't know what they like eat before like they go into a playoff game, but they just something is just making them have some kind of kryptonite in there because like goodness gracious, this is it's ridiculous.
We know who has the kryptonite. It's the Crypt Keeper has the kryptonite. Like just put Jerry Jones in a box about October and just keep doing what you're doing and you'll be fine.
We gotta stay on my schedule.
Hey, he wants some glory hole, man. That's all he wants.
Hey, remember,
Glory
Dak Prescott
hole
is
days.
better than all of the AFC quarterbacks outside of Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
Via Micah Parsons.
Well, this is why we test for CTE early. That's all I'm saying. But in all seriousness,
owner dimension.
In all seriousness for Dallas, there's some obvious. Looking at the list, there are some obvious players who they shouldn't come back to. Dante Fowler Jr. for
correct.
Stephon Gilmore, you don't need to know.
Correct.
Tony Pollard as well.
You need to bring him back. Yes.
Who?
Tony Pollard. They need a running back.
They can get one in the draft for way cheaper.
There's plenty. Or free agency, even cheaper.
They don't need to be paying Pollard all this money. They should have learned this thing. They should have learned this after the whole stuff with Zeke. Like, you don't need to be giving these running backs all this money.
Yeah,
Zeke was a prime example of like you shouldn't have given him that one, my guy.
Like, no offense to Pollard and running backs, I'm sure they're all good people, but when it comes to longevity and performance at that age, goes downhill significantly. Like it's a trend at this point.
Yep.
So
Do you think Dak will renegotiate his final year of his contract because his cap hits 59.5 million?
he
He
has to.
might, he might, because like they have 14 million of dead cap space, and you could restructure that with some bonuses and stuff that you could push that down the road. And I think they how do they look in 2025?
With Dak Prescott's voided year, you're looking at 90 million.
Yeah, so they should do something to push that cap hit further on down, like just to next year. And I think that's probably what they'll end up doing, and that'll put them in a much better position. Because then they can buy a couple of weapons that maybe they didn't have before, and see where that goes. The Pittsburgh Illumineers.
The new home of Arthur Smith's offense. We
like
do not
Steeler
care.
fans, I am sorry. You need 2 years of like going like 2-0. Rebuild your draft capital. Just please.
And this is coming from a Bengals fan?
No, this is like someone who has to suffer through the bitching and complaining because my corporate office is in Pittsburgh, and I have to listen to them complain constantly. And it's like, and of course, then I'm just sitting here, just like I'm just eating my Cheerios, Yeah, you just keep bitching, out of my like Bengals bowl, yeah, it's fine, everything's fine.
It's like it's great that Mike Tomlin is essentially having the longest streak of like winning seasons, but I think it's time to put that to bed. It's time to put that to bed.
Have 2 bad years and give him some weapons. Like that's all they have to do.
So I think I brought this point up before when I said they have not been bad since 1969. It's been a while, like truly awful bad. It's not in their DNA, but they need to just blow it completely up. Not semi-blow it up, blow it completely up. They have two players that are essentially trade bait. TJ Watt, Joey Porter Jr. Ship them all out. Get picks, draft a true quarterback, draft a wide receiver, get some offensive linemen to protect that quarterback that you draft,
100%,
and just suck for 2 to 3 years. It is what it is. TJ Watt is
Deontay Johnson.
But
defensive player of the year.
Is, though,
TJ
like,
Watt.
do you trust their GM to do that? I
don't think they'll do it, but like that's what they need to do.
I'm like,
because again, how many? All right, so right here's the question: how many years younger from JJ is TJ?
TJ Watt is 29 years old. He's in the prime of his career.
And JJ is 6 years. So 6 year difference. So basically, his 2 best years to play are going to be when you were going to still be crap. So you might as well get rid of him, get some draft capital, and start rebuilding your team. I mean, like it's that Band-Aid, rip it off. Just go ahead, get him out there, get him somewhere where he's going to get pay.
Okay,
so
they're
not
need to
do that. But
all right, so they just passed the potential opt-out is at 2024 with the $18 million dead cap to just like let go TJ Watt. If they trade him post June 1st, you split the dead cap of $9.3 million for this year and next year, but you save $21 million.
That gets them back in the black.
And doing all that just to get into black, I don't think it's enough.
Well, it's not
you can't
just
sign
that.
anybody else.
It's
if you're in the black or in the red. Sorry.
Well, it's not just that. It's also to accumulate draft capital so you finally get on the rebuild. And as I said, move off of Joey Porter Jr. as well. Move off of Pickens. They all need to go. These are the only 3 that have any kind of, that can net any kind of capital. I don't care about Deontay Johnson. I think he's overrated. I don't know why he's making all that much money. All right, there's nobody else. Maybe Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't know. But the way it's going right now, they are essentially stuck in neutral. It's stagnant. The product is awful to look at. They need to suck it up and just suck for 2-3 years. And then they'll be back to where they want to be.
Yeah. It's just time. Cleveland.
Listen, am I right? Oh, is it Cleveland? My bad. I skipped that one.
The other one.
Watson, am I right? That's what I meant to say. Watson, am I right?
-24 million. So I don't know how Cleveland's going to massage these numbers, but it's not going to
Oh
come
my
out the way they're
God.
expecting.
You went there.
Ooh, that dead
mean-
cap. Oh my god.
They have 14
200
million.
million.
Yo, what?
I was looking at Deshaun's dead cap of 200 million. And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
$200
oh
million dead
my
cap with a
God.
$64 million cap hit.
It's like it's so funny that people are just like, well, maybe Joe Flacco can take. No, that man has that job. Deshaun is the QB1. If they give it to anybody else, oh, they're gonna look so stupid.
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm
And there's
probably
no opt
Who's
out
getting
for-
cut? Because this is where we're at negative cap. So who's getting cut?
Kareem Hunt's on the Browns. Oh yeah, he has to go. Yeah, no, Kareem Hunt has to go. Other than that, I don't know. That's tough.
They also lost their O-line coach. So their O-line is going to implode this year.
I mean,
Like-
And
Jedrick
again,
Willis.
And I'm saying that now, and then Lexi's going to use this against me this time
Yeah.
next year,
can't-
because
They can't move on from Watson. They can't move on from Garrett.
No, they
I
can't.
don't think they can get. They can't move on from War because they just signed him, I believe.
Jack
this was their
Conklin.
year, and they didn't make it, so now they're back to being the Browns.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Jack Call. That's I don't know about that one because that's 29 in dead cap. Oh my god, they're kind of boned. I'm not gonna.
What about Nick? What about Chubb? What about Chubb?
Nick Chubb.
Oh, Chubb would get him
Chubb is a
some money.
$15 million cap hit.
That'll save them some. It won't get them. It'll get them close, and depending on how much money comes up, they might be okay. Plus, that's some that's some like draft capital. So maybe it's time to get rid of Chubb.
I mean, let me
Ugh.
see. How did
They-
he
they-
do this year? Oh yeah, he
Little
did.
bit.
Only 170. Yeah, no, he was injured. He played 2 games.
Yeah,
So
But I mean, prior
Dang.
to that, I mean, he.
he was turning
he was
it
their
up.
go-to guy.
But
This is again. This goes back to
oh, he's
why you do the
28.
buddy system.
Yeah, he's 28 now. He should just go. He should
Yeah.
go at that point.
Let someone else eat that for a year and just see if they can make something work. So moving on, Denver.
Okay, Wilson, am I right? Oh my gosh.
Negative 32 million.
Hmm.
And there was still a dumpster fire. And even if they trade Wilson, I don't think whoever's going to accept the Wilson
Gonna trade him. I
is
don't
going
think.
to accept. Well, it may be Atlanta. So, like, how much
Yeah.
of
They should.
Wilson's hit are you going to take?
We're
And it's
not we're
probably
not
a-
trading for Wilson.
I
I'm
hope they
telling you
do.
right now
I
that
hope
we're
they
not
do.
trading for Wilson because the thing is, since everybody knows that that's a divorce waiting to happen, they're just waiting for him to get cut, and that's most likely what's going to happen because they made it very clear as day with them benching him for the last 2 games, and so that 32 is going to get much worse. And that's gonna suck for the Broncos because I could easily see Wilson be like, all right, since you want to do that bet, you can just cut me and I'll just take the vet mill, play somewhere else and get a chip there, and then you can
Eat
cry
my
about
cash.
it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna throw out 3 names of people they can move off of. They're all wide receivers: Cortland
Mhm.
Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and I don't know who the hell Tim Patrick is, but
That's fair.
Yeah,
They need a massive overhaul in wide receiver. That's fair.
I've never ever believed in Jerry Jeudy as a wide receiver. I've always felt he's been overrated ever since he came out of Alabama. I don't think he's done much in the league. I could be wrong.
No,
If I'm incorrect,
he
please tell me I'm wrong.
basically
But
was a low tier wide receiver 1 at best. That's like the best thing you can really come up with Jerry Jeudy. And I mean, this is a good year draft class to do it because this wide receiver group is just like off the charts. So I can easily see them just saying, yeah, we'll move on from these guys and just totally have a full on reset wide receivers as well. But yeah, the Broncos got to make some pretty big decisions for an overhaul that
Oh.
they don't have money for.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse because now we're on to LA, which instead of having negative 32 million, which again, this is before the cap, so it may not be as bad, but like Broncos needs a full overhaul anyway. Oh, and I do not relish that decision. But now we're on to what Jim Harbaugh is going to have to deal with in
luck.
LA.
Yes. Good luck with him.
That's fine. He'll just cut everybody, and then we'll just rebuild from scratch, and then they'll suck for 5 years, and then magically make it to the national title, right? Isn't that how that worked at Michigan? Something like that.
They kind of cheated, but sure, that's how it.
So they're at 33 million dead cap space, or not dead cap space, negative cap space, and they have how much dead cap?
24.5.
A lot. So I think it's gonna be a couple of years.
They're probably gonna do some massive trades, especially on the defensive side. I think.
Just suck for a while, get Jim's system installed, let him go.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put Khalil Mack on the chopping block, or who would be Joey Bosa as well. Maybe Keenan Allen too, since he's up there as well when it comes to how much money that those fellas owe. So
Okay, so Keelan Allen cap is 34 million, but his dead cap is 11.6 post June 1st.
Yeah. My thing is that I'm cutting people that I can cut just to stay
Eckler
relevant.
has to go. Eckler, you can't resign Eckler.
No, you can't.
He wants to stay.
I'm going to cut the people that I can cut. I'm just going to suck for a little bit and just let Jim build a system that he wants, because we know that Jim can get your team to the Super Bowl. As weird as he is,
because he runs a Wii fence.
He's just a weird little guy.
He's just he's just like all right, I need you to pick all right, so you have Walmart, Target, and Kohl's. Who's going to be your head coach? We're going with Kohl's. Why? Well, he's weird, but he's different.
But they got their khakis on sale.
Yeah, he's got a good deal on khakis though.
He's so weird.
He's such a oh my god, I was following because again, I live in an area where I have to deal with a lot of Ohio State and Michigan fans, and I don't care about either one of them except for I just want to learn how to annoy them, and so I get to follow all of Jim's recruiting history, and dude is freaking weird. Sleepovers, yeah, I can't wait. We're gonna watch.
Oh God, what the fuck?
Pause. Sleepovers?
What in the world?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just Google right now, Jim Harbaugh recruiting sleepovers.
Oh boy.
That's oh my gosh.
And he had footy pajamas. He had footy pajamas. And
what?
Oh okay. Yeah.
Wait,
okay.
I have a question.
So if you didn't know that Jim Harbaugh was this weird, I got news for you.
Did he carry a fruit basket with him to the sleepover? I'm just curious.
What?
No, it was at his place. Well, sometimes he would say. Sometimes he would do a sleepover at the recruit's place too, and would sleep on the floor. It was I'm telling you right now,
I said,
Jim Harbaugh's freaking weird.
Does he carry a fruit basket?
Who does this? All right, I've heard of weird stories. To get recruits to sign with you. That might be the weirdest one I've heard. That's weird.
That's definitely not on my bingo card.
If I'm my parents, if I'm the parents, I'm looking at the coach little weird okay.
I'm like, what are you trying to do with my child? The heck? Anyways, yeah.
There's a CBS. all right. There's a CBS article from January 22nd, 2016. 4-star defensive lineman explains what happens on a Jim Harbaugh sleepover.
Okay, I think I'm good here. I think we're done. I think we're done with.
That's.
I think we're done.
Yikes.
SB Nation. Jim Harbaugh is playing a slumber party with high schoolers. Miami has been catfished for negative 51 million. So Eli Apple back on the Back on the trading block here,
Funny.
maybe. I would love to have him back home.
Do you though?
You
Do you
really want
really?
I do
That's
because
crazy.
I'm a sane Bengals fan, and he's actually pretty decent as far as
That's
controlling the
sane
defense.
to you? That's
No, he's
decent to
not.
you?
Eli
Oh
Apple
my
is not
god.
good.
If he was back on the six, I'm like, ooh, we about to eat tonight. Oh my god.
Eli Apple is legitimately one of the worst starting
He is.
cornerbacks in the league. I don't know what you're
Oh
talking
my
about.
god, dude.
For what
He
we
is
used him for,
not
he
good.
was fine. He got us to the Super Bowl. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
in your system, in y'all system, he was
Mhm.
fine. Outside of it, no. I had to watch him on the Saints.
Ah,
I
God,
nearly,
seeing him every
wow.
Sunday was so beautiful.
I nearly threw a
God,
brick at
Julio
my
Jones got it
TV.
so
He
easy.
is disgustingly bad.
Oh
Okay,
my god.
but Miami,
Oh my god.
Miami.
I mean,
I
there's a lot of coke in Miami, so like, yeah, of course they've come.
a lot of it
oh,
is
it's
tied to their
bad.
defense, right?
Jingles, we're going to you for the numbers.
143 million of it is tied up on the defense by 16 players.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Ooh.
Because I mean, a lot of those players came from the Rams as well, if I recall correctly.
9 players with linebackers, 7 secondary, totaling 122 million.
Miami, that's who you want to call. So moving on, we're gonna go into Buffalo, who has no money.
oh man, Buffalo.
is-
6 million in the hole. So OBJ's going.
Um, Buffalo should just hold up before I make this point. Where is Stephon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs is $27 million cap hit with a 31 dead.
That's a lot.
Mm.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's post June 1st is 8.8 million dead cap.
They have 8.8 dead cap that's on the list. So
See, I would say just trade Diggs because Diggs likes to do. I hear this from Bills fans all the time in person and in certain NFL chats. Oh, Diggs wants to be here. Yeah, they need to cut their losses with Stephon Diggs. I
move on.
just move on from him. I don't. There's no reason to keep. He didn't even. I don't think he even performed that well in the playoff game they were in this season. I could be wrong, but Diggs and Von Miller, since he's up there in age and also has that legal stuff going on with him,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I think Vaughn is one of the first names I would think of moving on from, really. Stephon Diggs is a bit tricky, not just with cap space, but also like who would be a solid option to replace Stephon as well.
I can't be
and
Gabe Davis.
Buffalo's in Buffalo's SOL with with Diggs because if you trade him, it's a $31 million dead cap. All right, if you trade him,
Ooh.
that's before June. That's before March 17th. If you trade him after March 17th, is a $49 million dead cap.
Can you cut him?
Yeah.
If you release him, all right. If you trade him, it's a $31 million dead cap. If you release him after June the 1st, you split the dead cap, 8 million this year, 22 next year, but you save 19 in the cap for this year.
All right. So can you cut him? Like, is it all guaranteed money or?
Looking at his base salary, it's 18.5. His signing bonus is 4.3 million. Roster bonus is 255K. 3.2 million option with a 250K bonus workout. He restructured 1.3 with a cap hit of 27. So basically, you have to pay him if he's the 4.3 million. If he's on the roster, it's an extra 255K. So it all depends on when you do it.
So this was the year for the Bills too. Then they're just gonna have.
And also they have an opt out after the 24 season.
So I think that one's probably gonna be a 25 move more so than a 24 move. It's a rough time for the Buffalo Bills.
But
Oh
also,
my gosh, they're gonna have to cut so many people.
can I add a side note?
Mhm.
I found this little nugget right here. His 24 salary fully guarantees on March 17th.
Sounds about right. March 17th, the magical day.
All right, so the Buffalo Bills are in bad shape. They already have 8.8 million in dead cap space, but they have to somehow figure out roughly 50 million, depending on what the contract ends up being for. And you know what? It couldn't happen for the backstabbing team.
Last but not least, let's
Oh.
go ahead. Let's go down to the Big Easy.
Oh boy.
So, New Orleans, last place. In fact, I have them as New Orleans St. Francis of Assisi. And if you don't know who that is,
Oh, St.
that's
Francis
the
of Assisi. Yes.
or sure, whatever.
Wait, what did you just say? Asasi?
No, Assisi.
No, was that what
Sorry.
Queen said?
What?
That's what I was like. Asasi? Like what the
Well,
frick?
if you're gonna mispronounce my name, I'm gonna mispronounce your patron, weird saint of the poor.
Wow. Okay.
Yo,
The shade is real
that's
tonight. Okay.
crazy.
I got my
It-
popcorn.
I ain't
You
mad
ain't
at
you
it.
ain't making me mad. That's all.
The shade is crazy tonight.
Anyway, patron saint of the poor, out of New Orleans, negative 85 million.
Chump change.
Damn, bro, that's fucking
Don't
crazy.
change my ass.
So, all right, we do this song and dance every single year. Everybody freaks out. Oh my God, the Saints are this much, and we get back in the black. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mickey Lewis is going to do some magic, voodoo trickery, and we're somehow
course.
going to end up with like 10 million over the cap and sign a bunch of over the hill veterans and end up going 9-8 next year. End up in the same situation because we haven't gotten in our heads that Drew Brees is no longer here. We don't have to keep doing the same thing that we did under Sean Payton, and we have one of the worst head coaches in the entire fucking league. So we're going to continue. Sorry for cussing. We're going to continue doing that ad infinitum until the heat death of the universe, quadrillions of years from now.
Yep. Enjoy that middle of the pack team.
I'm
buddy.
just being honest with you because I've seen this song and dance so
Yes,
much, and I'm
Trust
so
me.
sick of it.
So,
We've
so,
seen it
so,
too.
Sai, I'm detecting the whiff of, is that steel mills? Off of like that. Oh, it's such
The
a familiar
difference
smell.
The difference is the Saints fans understand what it's like to be absolute dog doo-doo because we were that for a
no
long time.
No wonder you have black smoke coming out of the Superdome.
We
I mean, I feel like at the end of it, they'll just continue to extend players that they probably should let go a long time ago. So that's
Like
not
who?
gonna be a surprise.
Like Taysom Hill with a $15 million cap hit.
Look, Taysom Hill is a Swiss Army knife. He does not need to be let go. You can
He's got a
restructure that
bigger cap
contract.
hit than Christian McCaffrey.
That's a skill issue. My point is, there are people on the Saints
Yeah, that's a
that
that's
need
a
to
Saints
go.
skill issue.
There
my
are
guy.
people on the Saints that need to go. Andrus Pete should not be resigned. And if they resign Andrus Pete, I am personally getting on a plane,
It's
going
avoided
down
you.
to Metairie and slapping the you-know-what out of Mickey Loomis because he is absolute garbage. Michael Thomas needs to be traded tomorrow. Gone. So he does not need to be on this team. Jimmy Graham, I appreciate all the
He's a
years.
free agent.
Good. Don't resign him. Bye. There are people on the New Orleans Saints right now who should go. Tyrann Mathieu as well. I don't know why we signed Tyrann Mathieu. Over the hill, Tyrann Mathieu. What have you done for me this season? Absolutely nothing. Why did we sign Jamal Adams? Why is that? What a waste. What a waste of a signing. Because our coach cannot figure out how to use him right for a majority of the season.
Are you sure you want to release Michael Thomas? Because if you do, it's an $18 million dead cap.
I want him so far away from this team.
But
It's
you're
not even
paying
funny.
him. But you're paying him $4 million. It's a dead cap of $18
Good.
million.
Good. I will pay you money to get the hell away from my team.
What kind of contract is that? You pay a guy $4 million to play. You cut him. Is a dead cap of $18 million.
Well, again, we go back to the other discussions we have for like if you're not willing to cut people and you're not willing to trim the fat and you're just going to sit there and just flounder
Look,
in mediocrity.
I
Like you just go ahead and take the hit. Have a couple
Look,
bad years. It's
I
fine.
just can't wait to see this grow even more next year to the century mark. I really want that to hit over 100 so bad. I really do.
So you notice the funny part about this
Oh my
is
god.
the
Well, guess
Saints can
what? They're
be in.
halfway. You're halfway there next year already, with negative 45 next year.
All I'm saying is
That's
I'm
pretty funny.
expecting 9 and 8 again next year. This team is awful. Blow it all up, please. End me from my misery. There's nothing the Saints can do with the current roster or any
Of course.
attempt at signing somebody with what
I,
little.
I mean the cap space alone.
Even if
which
they,
is what this
because
show's about.
because I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna push it to the future. That's always what they do. They put it on a credit card. It's pushed to the future. They got 10 million cap space to sign whatever veteran, and then they do the same thing. They've been doing that for the past 5, 6 years now. Okay,
Well, you
it made
better.
sense with Drew Brees. I get it. Drew Brees is not here. Sean Payton is not here. Pete Carmichael, thank God, is gone. It is time to
I
blow it up.
crazy question. Jingles, what does New Orleans cap space look like next year?
Already told them they're halfway there to a hundo at 50, negative 50 in 25. But down the road, like you love to go down the road, 26. You got 66 million in cap space in 2026.
You see, you have 2 years of suck.
And yeah,
I
Derek
mean-
Carr cap hit in 26 is at 55.7.
You know who's
Gosh.
so you know who's coming
50
out in
base salary.
You know who's coming out in 2 years that'll make it all worth it? Arch Manning. So I hope we suck for 2 years.
Bruh,
Then we could draft Arch Manning. Okay?
So you're saying the paperback will be back in fashion in New Orleans, but you draft another Manning. Got it.
Yes, they were this year. You didn't see them?
Funny.
I wore my paper bag.
That's so funny.
This
is
yeah,
hilarious,
plastic.
dude.
I am a rational Saints fan. I hate this team so much, but I love this team as well.
A rational Saints
The most
fan.
rational Saints fan will probably be.
That's a new one I've heard.
Mhm.
But to wrap it up in all seriousness, there are assets the Saints need. The Saints can either cut or trade away, but they're not going to. And they'll put it all on credit card, they'll do some cat magic, get like 10 million, over the cap and call it a day. It's what's going to happen.
Anakin line one.
Not even the Vatican can save this team. That's beyond redeeming. Like Pope
Oh my
Francis looked
gosh.
at the Saints and was like, "Nope."
So what smoke color is it when you get a new general manager? I'm confused.
It's white smoke.
Oh, for new general
Fun
manager.
fact:
All right.
he has
Well,
been
that
here since
coach.
2001.
Yep.
Like,
God damn.
yeah.
Over time, and so in that case,
Yeah, I gotta go to bed.
the actual draft will be waiting for us for next week. So that will be a whole nother round of debates. Hopefully, I might split that up. So we may do like the first top of the half of the draft for the next show, and then the bottom half after that for round one. It depends on how much we get into things, I suppose. Because my God, we talked about teams that I didn't think we were going to talk about. Anyway, if you enjoyed the show, please like, comment, subscribe. And if it's on another platform by this point, whatever metric you need to do to bump us up. I'm not quite sure how that works on the other ones yet. So thanks so much. And we will see you guys next week or so. Bye.
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 Hi. Girl Scout cookies.